So Gary, we've seen a Chelsea team drop points on both weekends of the new Premier League season, hammered at Old Trafford, drew 1-1 with Leicester today, an incredibly open, vulnerable Chelsea side, and an awful lot of work for Frank Lampard to do defensively.
No, there is. I think ultimately you're looking at young centre-halves. Well, not young now at this stage, Zuma's 24, Christensen, but the concern will be midfield, that they're not able to stop teams counter-attacking at pace. We know how good N'Golo Kanté is, but at times when he's moved out of that position, which the opposition will look to do, it's far too open, and they were vulnerable, and at times in that second half Chelsea can be relieved that they didn't concede that key second goal.
And it's not like he doesn't have defensively minded players in his squad in the midfield area. Could have started with the three today in Kovacic, Kanté and Jorginho, left Kovacic on the bench and played Mason Mount, who certainly made a big contribution to the game. So when you look at the personnel he has available to him, how do you see him improving that over the next few weeks?
Well, I don't see them. They're defensive players, Kovacic and Jorginho. I know Jorginho plays at the base of midfield, but it's as a playmaker to try and get him playing. Mason Mount was excellent in terms of that number 10 position, but Jorginho's not got enough athleticism if he's exposed, if there's any space left or right of him, which Brendan Rodgers done brilliantly to adjust at half time to make sure that Maddison was playing laterally of him. And certainly Kovacic, you don't know what position he plays. He's a good footballer, technically gifted, but you wouldn't trust him to play at the base of your midfield, no chance. So I'm not sure if he does as player. Bakayoko, I'm not sure what his situation is. Is he going to go out on loan again? Is he? But certainly they don't have a player in a mould of a Matic who partnered Kanté so brilliantly in that title-winning season under Conte.
Well, that's 3 games in 8 days, and they've been second best in the second half in all 3 of those games. So what do you put that down to? Is it legs? Is it inexperience? Is it trying to get to grips with what their new manager is asking of them?
And listen, there's an argument for all those things in terms of where they are, in terms of their fitness, that they would tire. But if you look back to how well they started in that first half, they were brilliant. The crowd was baying them. They were so positive on the front foot, and that suits the way this team plays. But then when they dropped down and tried to get a good defensive shape up, and then had to make secondary decisions in terms of being moved about, they weren't very good at it. And listen, that will take a lot of time on the training ground, but if you're asking me, does he have midfielders who can cope in space other than Kanté, I'd argue no, he doesn't.
But you said during commentary that Frank Lampard, and he did it at Derby as well, he's obviously trying to give youth a chance. Yeah. He gave Mason Mount another start today. Christian Pulisic started in the Premier League again today. Both had very good first halves. Tammy Abraham came on for Olivier Giroud. He gave him a good 25 minutes there as well. So it's just a question of whether these guys can come good in the long term.
Well, listen, I believe they will, and I'll keep going back to referencing what Frank Lampard has said all this season. It's not about just playing young players for the sake of it. He's arguing that they are these best options available. Now, that's a massive boost in confidence for them. You saw the reaction of the home crowd of those young players. They were so behind them from start to finish. And certainly Mason Mount was impressive, got his goal. Pulisic was excellent that first half. But they have to be able to do it over 90 minutes. This is Chelsea. This is not a mid-table team. And people talk about young players getting their opportunity before. Under Gus Hiddink, when he came in, the likes of Loftus-Cheek. Chelsea finished 10th that season. You can do that then. They can't finish 10th this season.
A lot of people were tipping Chelsea to be the side out of the sides that won the Champions League places last season, to be the one that dropped out of the top 4 this time, to be the most vulnerable one. If that is the case, who do you see replacing them? And let's make some knee-jerk reactions in the back of two weekends of the new Premier League season. On the evidence that we've seen, they won't pick up a huge amount of points in the coming weeks. Is it Arsenal maybe that you see as the side that most likely to step into that top 4?
The thing about Arsenal is you're obviously looking at the signings they've made, and the problem you have is that you just can't trust Arsenal. They break your heart. I like Emery as a manager. I think he's a problem solver. I think he's made that squad of players more accountable than they've ever been. Fitness levels have to be right. He's not scared to drop anyone. But if you're looking at the team most likely to threaten it, you're probably saying United at this moment in time. And listen, we've seen United. I've seen a lot of them over the pre-season. Yes, and a buoyant 4-0 win. They'll be delighted with themselves. But they're not without their issues in midfield also. They're a counter-attacking team more than anything now, but out of possession, they don't impact themselves on the game in a way that you normally associate with top United teams. So, listen, there's a lot to play for. It's early on in the Premier League, but it's exciting.